Welcome back to the show, everybody. Check out these headlines. 240 XRP move. Judy Shelton sizes up the Fed, and boy, does she. Visa shows the percentage of small, medium businesses that are really looking to incorporate and offer crypto. The number is staggering. Or how about this? Hundreds and billions, if not trillions, set to flow in crypto assets. And it's not just because of crypto. We'll tell you why. There's a new catalyst at hand. Fox Business News tells us about the case delay, which we know. A motion has been granted in the SEC versus Ripple case. And we're also going to find out what is the most important thing coming up in the near term, actually any day, that could end this case. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow me on Twitter at BackupBradleyAbove and everything that we're talking about here today. And give us a follow on Facebook, Digital Perspectives News, no spaces. We will do live exclusive streams from there. We'll take questions, ask me anything kind of format. It's really fun to do. Just started last Sunday, and there's exclusive news and content there as well. Right now, we're looking at 2,061 billion. Excuse me, missed a zero there. For the cryptocurrency market cap, we are off by 0.5%, a little stronger than that. Bitcoin right now, 43,300. Ethereum is 3,300 plus. We see Solana coming in at 153 and change. Cardano is 127, and XRP is 77 cents. Yeah, that's the asset that I believe can be a bridge currency to all the money. Right now, looking like a smacked ass, but that's what I see when I look at it. I see 0.7738 on the bottom and 0.8085 on the top. 78 cents for a bridge currency for the world. Yep, I do believe that. And I know I might sound a little crazy, but I do. In the face of a 70-some cent XRP, I believe it is really going to be a bridge currency to all the money. Not financial advice. I remember buying it when it was 13 cents. And boy, did I back the truck up that day. Right here is Ledger, everybody. If you want, you know how the saying goes, not your keys, not your crypto. Well, that's not the case here, because when you own a Ledger, I have a Ledger Nano S, but if you own a Ledger, the different products of Ledger, you can hook it to Ledger Live, and not only can you hold and own in cold storage your cryptocurrency, but you can track it without having to plug it in, and you can also buy and sell and trade cryptocurrencies inside the Ledger Live app. Got a great link for you in the description box for it. Make sure you check it out. 250 million XRP have been sent by Ripple and major crypto exchange in several large transfers. I see this stuff, I tell you. I cannot help but think at some point we see this thing get relisted, and hopefully with clarity, whether it comes from Congress or whether it comes from the court, that we have the kind of clarity that it can be relisted in the manner that we used to have it before the case even began. And with the case at hand, and we got some news coming up for that, and it is definite, and we like hearing it. Right here, Uphold puts out a little survey and asks everyone to vote on XRP. Will it reach $10 this year? 58% plus said yes, it will. And I tell you, I like that kind of glass half full approach right there, ladies and gentlemen. I am down for a $10 plus XRP this year. Oh, yes, I am. Yeah, this is a reason why we, how do we get here? How do we get to that kind of price? It can't just be a survey, right? Well, we know many things have been happening. We know that north of 20 or 25% of the people on RippleNet are using actual XRP for settlement, right? Or it's either 25% of the customer base or the flows, right? One or the other. And either way you look at it, that is really, really impressive. It is a digital asset, regardless of what the SEC tries to say, that actually has use case that's being used right now. KFH, Kuwait Finance House, the first bank in Kuwait to launch the funds transfer service for local banks and mobile numbers, says here by Bank XRP. RippleNet, digital wallet service through smartwatches, mobiles, which provides most advanced smart digital payments methods according to the most advanced and secure calibers in collaboration with Samsung, Fitbit, Garmin, and several other e-banking services. You can't make this up. I mean, it's a matter of time in my eyes. It's not if they're going to, it's when, right? Right here is Judy Shelton talk about when and what the Fed should do. She's getting ready to tell you what they should do. Listen to the catastrophe that the Fed is trying to control at this current time. Take a listen here.
I don't know how deep we want to get in the weeds here, Judy, but you worry that the Fed's tool, the one that Powell talks about, in terms of trying to handle inflation, might not work, and that the more effective way would be to shrink the balance sheet. Can you explain that in layman's terms, why it could be futile just to raise the rate on deposits?
Yes, and I think it's important that people do understand that the Fed's primary tool now for raising the interest rate is to pay a higher rate of return to banks, depository institutions who are required to keep accounts, reserve accounts at the Federal Reserve. That's effectively their checking account. And so the way that the Fed plans to do those 25 basis point hikes, and they're now talking maybe 3, maybe 4, is to raise that rate. Now they're paying banks to keep the money idle, to not make loans with it. So I don't see that's how that is going to help increase supply, which is our inflation problem. And they will also, in tandem with that, raise the rate that they pay non-banks, that they pay hedge funds and money markets to likewise just put cash at the Federal Reserve overnight, night after night. We're up to about 1.7 trillion in that market through the New York Fed. And my point is, you are effectively inducing banks to not get involved in providing the loans that would potentially create businesses that would lead to increasing supply. And the goal instead, and Chair Powell acknowledged, the Fed can only attempt to decrease demand. And I think it would be much better, since interest rate manipulation is really the Fed's only tool, to start to reduce that gargantuan balance sheet. They added more than 4.4 trillion since COVID started in March of 2020. What they should be doing is selling off that balance sheet to reduce the Fed's footprint. The Fed is too prominent in financial markets. It's too powerful in creating the money by purchasing government debt from banks, and it's too political.
And there you have it. I don't think you can say it any better, to be honest with you, which is, look, why Tom Emmer has come out with a very simple but very blunt piece of legislation that I believe is the reference here in this post the day before. New digital currency legislation coming soon, and I think it was this that he is referencing right here. Today, I introduced a bill prohibiting the Fed from issuing a central bank digital currency directly to individuals. I go over this again quickly because I covered it this morning because there's hundreds of people that are joining this channel every day. And, we have to cover this for the people that don't watch every single video. So there has to be some kind of overlap here. And this is very, very important. The idea is to make sure that we don't have what's happening in China happen here. If the federal government, or the Federal Reserve, which is not a branch of the federal government, if they were to control the release of a retail-facing CBDC, then they could see everything you do with the money, and that's a problem. That right there is enough to warrant a public-private relationship and have a third party that is held to a systemically important financial market utility or infrastructure by the Treasury, FSOC specifically, and OFAC for international relations of that, and make sure that this is held to a heightened supervisory standard the way SIFMUs and SIFMEs are. This is not my speculation. This is what the FSOC does with designations, and they can do this without Congress's help. And this here is just one more smart move to really try to handcuff the Fed from getting even more power and control of not just the overnight repo market here. It's incredible. Right here, I asked a question that I've gotten a lot of comments on, so I figured why not? Let's just ask it, right, and see if we can get someone to answer it here. It's to anybody who can answer this. This may sound silly, so forgive me or us. I know the law is the law, but Congress passes legislation providing crypto clarity. Are the courts in ongoing trials free or required to use it to render a decision, or could they rule without it? Thanks in advance. Some nice suggestions down here are look at this. Some laws based around cannabis here, some states that legalize, decriminalize that, still have people in prison for those things. But that necessarily doesn't mean that unless there is a retroactive provision, the laws are applied to offenses committed during that time. Very well said. I don't know if these are accurate or if these people have a legal background, but they're offering some pretty great suggestions to think about here. Said the judge can most definitely use law passed by Congress in her ruling. This isn't a criminal case. Says posting the regs where coming is very telling. Talking about Tom Emmer's post, but I believe Tom Emmer's post have been more focused about controlling the Fed at this point more than a broader legislation, but hopefully Tom Emmer can clear that up for us as well. But look, things are moving in the right direction, ladies and gentlemen. Visa survey shows that 24% of small, medium businesses plan to accept crypto payments. Now, you just can't make the decision to do that, right? I mean, you can arbitrarily, but there are a lot of things that have to be in place, like market infrastructure for Visa to even be able to offer it to the SMBs and say, well, you want to do that? Fine, we'll help you get it done. I mean, and think about the notion of what it means for clarity and regulation. Someone somewhere must know that there is clarity and regulation coming. And if you look at this piece of news, I think it shows one more step towards that direction. And it's FinCEN and FDIC to hold a tech sprint for digital identity tools. If you take just a quick look at this, you can see the proliferation of scams and all of the rest of it, have them doing a tech sprint together. According to a joint announcement published Wednesday, the digital identity proofing refers to the process of collecting, validating, verifying information about a person. This information often used by financial institutions to establish proof of identity when customers are attempting to access services online. Now, look, I mean, this is really, like I said, increasingly online. There's fraudsters, scammers have found new and inventive ways to commit financial crimes. And according to FDIC and FinCEN, leaks, hacks of personally identifiable information known as PII, and the rise of synthetic identities, a type of fraud in which someone creates a new identity for a mix of real and fake information, have made establishing a person's true identity increasingly challenging. All of this goes into play of what we're talking about, rolling this out. It's just like having a CBDC or a public-private relationship stablecoin held to a heightened standard to be able to say we can control those on and off ramps. Well, those on and off ramps start with you and I and our digital wallets and our identity. And if we don't have complete control of that, so a hacker and a scammer can't get it, this world is going to be about as tangled up as a spaghetti bowl, right? So all of this does need to happen in a very, very short period of time, to be honest with you. But right now, coming up on the docket here, we have, I think it's January 20th. Yes, January 20th, the United States House Committee on Energy Commerce has announced a hearing on cryptocurrency energy consumption. Well, this ought to be fun. Wait till they get to the part where they're talking about Bitcoin and Ethereum. I think we all understand there are huge implications for problems with energy consumption with those two networks and others. I have even shown you the gas fees alone for Ethereum were over $13 as of this morning. All right, let's get to the catalyst here. Hundreds of billions, if not trillions of dollars set to flow into crypto because of inflation, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about inflation, and it is very real. And they cite right here, while the past trends suggest $11 trillion gold market is the top choice for a sturdy hedge against dollar devaluation. The responsive crypto market to current inflation reveals the willingness of many to turn to cryptocurrencies this time. This is especially true for many middle to high income citizens looking to protect their cash balances and near liquid investments against value erosion. Bitcoin, Ethereum, and the likes of, with over 160% value growth in 2021, now stand a better chance as a suitable alternative against fiat value loss for the average American citizen. That's the word on the street that's getting out right there, right? is people are hearing, like big XRP, for instance, was up over 300% year on year from 2020 to 2021. I remember when it was 13 or 17 cents, it dipped down, and then we're up in the 77 cents this morning, 78 cents, something like that. That where are you getting those gains in the traditional market? You show me, and I'll start putting my money there too, right alongside of you. Breaking right here. This was from yesterday, but I want to play this not because of the announcement of the delay for the court case, which has been granted, ladies and gentlemen. How you doing, Bob? Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, just to let you know, that was my mailman growing up. He is the coolest cat on the planet. But this motion has been extended time for completing of the expert discovery moved for 1 month. And it has been granted by the court. Shout out to James K. Filan here. Really appreciate that update. But we got more for you because you need to listen to this clip, because inside of this clip, when they talk about the delay here for the case, I want you to hear what else is said here. And I'm going to start at about here because I think we can. Let me get right here with this. Here we go.
Where the hell is it? It's, okay, into January, where's the movement? We found out there was really no movement, and then we did a little digging, and here's what Ellie essentially came up with. Both the SEC and Ripple are asking the judge in this case, Judge Torres, a federal judge, to delay the case amid the COVID surge. They are having a hard time getting all the witnesses, and there's about 8 left of the 16 they want to depose, and they want them to depose them face to face. It's very hard to do this over Zoom because these things could last 7 hours. There's a 7-hour limit. So in order to really get to the bottom of it, of a deposition, you kind of got to go back and forth. And because of the COVID surge, it's hard to do that right now. And they don't want to do it via Zoom. And it's both sides saying, yeah, please delay this. I think the deadline for depositions was this week. I know. It's now been delayed, or they both asked the judge to delay it to February 28th. We'll see what the judge says. Usually when both sides ask for a delay, they say, okay. And
now, very quickly there, both sides asked for a delay, and the motion has been granted. We just got that news from James K. Filan. Shout out to him. Appreciate all he does. But keep listening here what comes up after all of this is said.
And you'll delay the thing to February 28th. Again, they want to do all 16. Not just that they'll get the 8 done this week. That I think the initial 8 will be done this week, but they got to do 16, and that's why the February 28th date is imperative for both sides. And here's another interesting side note. There's a lot of little news on Ripple today in this case. Ripple's request for privileged SEC documents, their internal discussions and documents, emails about what they were saying about XRP versus Ethereum, why Ethereum was given a break and not XRP. The judge is going to rule on Ripple's request to get those documents. If those documents...
Look, there's what we're talking about. And John Deaton just told us about that earlier this week. I played the clips from Link 2. I'm telling you. And he told us 2 outcomes on that. And the 2 outcomes were, 1, if Ripple wins the DPP and gets to see those documents, he believes, doesn't mean it'll happen, he believes that we could see a settlement within 90 days. Second scenario, if the SEC wins the ruling and Ripple cannot see the documents, he believes that Ripple will lose a lot of leverage in this case going forward, and you will see a settlement almost immediately, or a judgment in the case, rather, from the judge. So this is really, really reaching a pivotal moment here. Let's keep our eye on the ball. Motion granted for the expert discovery and testimony, 1 month. Motion granted. But the real thing that is really, really pivotal here is this DPP ruling that should be any moment from the court on that decision. And either way that goes, sounds like it could be a ending kind of ruling, no matter who, or no matter depending what side the gavel the ruling falls on. And I hope it falls on Ripple's side, but nevertheless, this is getting very interesting, and it could be imminent. One of the things that sticks out to me is what Bong Bond Crypt here says, we've talked about this many, many times. Think about all the people on the Ripple board, including Rosie Rios, 43rd treasurer, who signed over $1 trillion worth of US dollars with her name on it. Do you think she would be there at Ripple with her illustrious career thus far and saying, hey, let me go work for this, next to a startup and then watch this tarnish everything I've built my entire adult career life, professional life? I just don't see it. I don't see it. And I don't see it because that's why Michael S. Barr was there. Susan S. Friedman's still there. And also in the Digital Pound Foundation, Craig Phillips also came from the Treasury. The list goes on. And it tells me that they understood clearly from day one that XRP is a currency. And Ripple just may be a bank. That's going to do it for me. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe. Leave a comment below. Make sure you share with somebody you know. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. Don't forget to check out Unstoppable Domains and all the other great links in the description and comment box. I'll catch all of you on the next one.